Hello and welcome to Spear Tackle episode 36. Timo, how are you?
Doing good, but not so good.
Oh, I
Depends.
think
We
I know.
we know we know why we're here, so we know why I'm not doing good, right?
So I'm going to go through the team before Timo goes on his rant because I've already heard it. Um, and now you guys are going to be forced to hear it as well. Um, yeah, I think today we'll just discuss the Springbok team. We'll go over the All Black team, we'll go over the Argentinian team, and we'll go over the Australian team as well, and our thoughts on that. Obviously, we'll have probably the most to say about our own team, and then just a few things with regards to the All Black team.
Yes.
Yeah, well, let's just fucking jump straight into it. So, I don't know when it's up. When it is up, just let me know.
It's up.
It's up. Okay. Um, Look, there is a few surprises here. So I'll just go through it and I'll give you an opportunity to go on your rant afterwards. I'm actually very happy with the team. I really, really am. I'll tell you exactly why after you've gone on your rant. But anyways, let's just run through it first. It's Oxen Chair. I mean, nothing new there. We expected that. Best loose head prop in the world. Malcolm Marx, one of the best hookers in the world. Thomas Tutoy, who've looked very, very good last weekend or the weekend before. So I'm very, very happy he's getting his shot finally. Eben Etzebeth, the beast, probably going to be man of the match. Best lock of all time, hands down. And then Ron Orkia. I'm actually very happy. I predicted that it'll be Loet Jager at sides with Eben, but I'm very, very happy with Ruan. I think Ruan is an unbelievable player, and I'm really, really happy that he's sort of becoming a regular in the Springbok setup. I mean, we mustn't forget he only got capped last year for the first time, but he is a very, very good line-out operator, and his work rate is unbelievable. So I'm very happy about that. Marco van Staden, the one player that seems to get a lot of hate, which I don't understand why. He's also got a work engine. I mean, he's an unbelievably good player. He does make a little bit too many handling errors, but I mean, that's only because I feel like he's just a very, very passionate player, and I love to see that, you know. Peter Seftoy, I mean, that's definitely our Richie McCaw. I mean, Peter Seftoy, two times World Rugby Player of the Year. I mean, what a fucking beast. And the last time he played against the no, not the last time, but one of the more recent times he played against All Blacks in 2023 Rugby World Cup final, where he just tackled the shit out of, was it Jordy Barrett? Jordy Barrett. So I'm 100% sure Jordy Barrett still has PTSD because of that, and that's a very, very good thing. Then Sia Kolisi is in on playing on 8. I know John-Luc du Preez was supposed to start, and it looks like he got injured again. And then Sia Kolisi was sort of shooting into the team. As far as I know, the report said that he's not 100% fit and he was actually going to miss this game. But, you know, obviously our options are very, very limited in that position because of Jasper Wiese and also all the other injuries. And also Jasper Wiese's red card. I'm not completely dissatisfied about this. I feel like Sia Kolisi didn't look very bad on 8 the last time he played in Australia, even though we lost that game, or in South Africa against Australia. But I think we actually got worse when he went off, and I actually felt like he was really, really good for those first 20 minutes, like the rest of the team. So then we got Grant Williams, Andre Pollard. I expected that. I think Grant Williams by far our number one choice scrum half. He's definitely cemented himself into that position. And then Andre Pollard, I mean, our general. I don't think Rice is going to take another chance with Manu Lubbock, not in this game. We probably see him against Argentina again. But I think Andre Pollard has shown that he's not ready to give the shirt away yet, or that fly-off shirt away. Then Caden Moody. So I'll say more about this after you've gone on your rant. So Caden Moody is back at wing. Rassi seems to have backed him after that shit show we had with him against Australia in the second Australian game. And then tried and tested Damon Renner and JC Creel. JC Creel actually captains the side with even though Sia Kolisi is on in the starting 15. And I know I saw a lot of like negativity around this. A lot of people complaining about this, and obviously having a lot to say that is this. I mean, I even saw things about saying that Rassie has some issue with Siya Kolisi or some shit like that. Look, I think it's actually very obvious. Look, I got scared the first time I saw that, but then when you sort of read or listen to the interviews and that, and the way Rice explains it actually makes sense. Sia was never supposed to start. He was never supposed to play. So Jesse Kriel was already named the captain. And I think it would have been a bit, not unfair, but you can sort of understand why Rasi sticked with Jesse on captain, because he was already sort of hyped up and had all the momentum building up to the game, knowing that he's going to start as the captain, and then Siya Kolisi just gets sort of shoot into the team. I think when we have a fit Siya Kolisi, and also I don't think Siya Kolisi is going to play the full 80 minutes. If he isn't 100%, I doubt that we'll see him playing a full 80 minutes. I doubt that Rasi will take a chance with him on full 80 minutes. So you need a captain, and I'm fairly certain Jesse Kriel will play the full 80 minutes. So you need someone that's there from sort of the first whistle to the last whistle. It makes sense to me, and I think a Siya Kolisi that's fit and playing will always still be our captain. He is our captain. It's just sort of for this game. So I'm not too worried about that. Cheslin Colby, the best wing in the world. There is no two ways about it. He is the man we need, and I'm really happy that he is back. We had a bit of injury scare with him earlier in the Rugby Championship. But I'm very, very happy that he's back. And then Very Leroux. So Very Leroux and Andre Pollard, obviously everyone knows what a good combination they make. Rassi's obviously told Apalele Fassi and Damian Willems that they're not ready or trusted for the big game, and he's put all his faith into Very Leroux. Will that backfire on us? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, Very Leroux is a very, very good player, but he also does have a few bad games, probably like every other player. A lot of people like Very Leroux. There was a time that no one liked Very Leroux. But anyways, yeah, I think him and Andre Pollard are going to make, we can sort of see what type of game they want to play. Then going through the subs, we've got Jan Hendrik Wessels, who's going to be playing on hooker. I know that Rassie has played him on loosehead before, but he does play the majority of his rugby on hooker for the Bulls. But he can cover both, and I think he's a brilliant player. I'm very, very happy that he's there. And then Bowen Venter, who will be playing, or Bowen Venter, who will be playing on loosehead, as a replacement. And then Volker Low, 150 kgs of pure destruction. So that's a very, very heavy and big man, and that is really going to cause some problems for that All Black scrum when he gets on the field. Then Loet Jager, I think, has been outstanding since his return from injury. I get very nostalgic. I don't know if that's the right word. Sorry, I'm Afrikaans. I get nostalgia. I'm 100% sure I said it wrong again. But when I see Loet Jager, because of 2019, that was when Loet Jager was predominantly a starter with Eben Etzebeth, and then obviously he was injured. I think he dislocated his arm in the 2019 final, if I'm not mistaken. And anyways, after that we didn't see much of him. So I'm very happy to see him coming through, and I'm very happy to see this. It is in such a good form. And then Kwagga Smith. Kwagga Smith is one of the best impact players that you can ask for. I like Kwagga coming off the bench. I think he injects that sort of fuel that we need. I don't really like him as a starter, and it's weird to say that. He's not bad by any means when he starts. I just feel like he adds that energy when he does come on the field. And then Kobus Reinach, Sasha Faimagomazulu, and Ethan Hooker, we spoke about last weekend. Both of us said we doubted that Rassie is going to choose him, but he comes off the bench as well for his second cap, and I'm unbelievably excited for that. I think Ethan Hooker is going to be phenomenal. He's got the potential to be a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Now that I've gone over the team and you've been waiting patiently to tell us how you feel about this team, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so I don't think it's the worst team we could have fielded until you get to Kane and Moody. I was like when we were chatting on WhatsApp earlier and this team announcement came through and I'm like it's a bit past April to play April Fool's jokes, right? You know, I mean, what is this? I'm and I mentioned this. I'm sure Rassie lost a bet. I'm really starting to think Rassie lost a bet, and that's his inclusion. Look, I can get Veli's inclusion into the team to an extent. I do think, you know, having Sasha on the bench, why not just start him at fullback? Where he's got a bit more time on the ball. Maybe have Veli on the bench to cover for that. You know, should there be an injury or should Sasha not really, you know, be the Sasha we want him to be? Kane and Moody in the team, I don't even know why the fuck he's on tour. You know, it's he lost us. He basically single-handedly missed 29 tackles in the first 7 minutes against Australia. He looks. I don't know. I'm so irritated by this whole thing with Kane and Moody that I actually don't even want to talk about it anymore.
My wife has the same view as you about Kane and Moody, and we actually spoke about it just before I came in here to record. And I disagree with both of you. She says the same thing. Why are we starting Kane and Moody? How many chances does he need to get? What? I see it differently, and this is what I explained to her. At this level, there's very little that puts skill apart. If that makes sense, what I'm saying. What makes Kane and Moody better than you know Rico Iane, whoever's playing in opposite an opposition jersey as him? You know, I mean, both of them are brilliant players. Both of them have the skill. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. Kane and Moody obviously had a shit show of a game last weekend. I do think good players have bad games, and I know that Kane and Moody's had a few, but I also think he had a few good ones. So what sets them apart to me is sort of hunger to win it, that sort of gives you that next level, you know, and where does that hunger come from, you know? Now, I think Kane and Moody has social media like every other person alive, and I think he has seen what you've said about him, not specifically, but what people similar to you have said about him all over, and he's been getting grilled for 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and he starts thinking in his mind, is he good enough? Should he be starting? You know, is Rassie going to drop me? With that mindset, now this is all just speculation. Rassie calls him in, tells him, you know what, Kanan, you've seen what everyone's saying about you, and let's be honest, you had a shit game, you know, but I back you, and I think that you are the guy that's going to help us get over the line come Saturday at Eden Park. Now, Kane Moody runs onto the field knowing that even though South Africa or a lot of South Africans doubt him, he's got his coach that backs him in probably the most important game of the year. And that also mixed with the fact that he's seen what everyone is saying about him and wants to prove people wrong is what will fuel him. So I might swallow all my words when he does, you know, miss another 29 tackles like you said on Saturday. But I think,
die poppe gaan dans in this podcast if you miss 29 tackles. You need to understand now.
But I think he's going to be brilliant. I really do. I think that he knows his coach backs him, and that's all that matters. You know, his coach telling him that I back you, even though the rest of them don't. You know, and yes, he had a shit game, but brilliant players have shit games. You know. The only brilliant player that I haven't really seen at a terrible game is Ebenezer, but he's more than human. But Kane and Moody, I honestly think that he's going to have a very good game, and I've seen him have a lot of very good games.
But then I'm going to put this out there, right? And I'm not saying, look, we're not coaches and whatnot, but where was Ambrose Papier's 29 chances to prove himself after having a shit game? Okay, because it's honestly like Kainan is in that thing of Rassie lost a bet, and that's why Kainan needs to be in the team. There is no logical sense with the amount of quality players that we have for Kainan to be in that side.
Yeah. Look, I think I get what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, and I think a lot of people feel the exact same way you feel. But I think Kane Moody is more established than, let's say, an Emirates Papier or a Warwick Galant
I
or
get
someone
that,
that's
but
had opportunities.
I get that,
I
but let's be
mean,
honest. The last good game he had was the game against New Zealand before the 2023 World Cup.
and Italy. He played very well against Italy
Dude,
on outside centre.
it was Italy though. It was Italy though. I can't rate him against Italy. I can't rate him against Italy. The whole team looked bad against Italy. So, but for me to rock up, on home turf and miss all those tackles so early in the game, against Australia and stuff, it doesn't work. We've got too many backup players. There's too many players that are playing their hearts out to be in this team. And Caden Moody, for some unknown reason, I don't know what it is. I don't agree with his inclusion in the squad. I don't agree with his inclusion in the match day 23. I think it's a mistake, and we're going to lose this match because of him.
We're going to win because of him, and I'll tell you why. He's a tall guy. I think he's got 1.91 meters, 1.93. I'm taller than him, by the way, so fuck you. But anyways, so he's a tall guy. So he's very, very good in the aerial battle under the high ball. And I think that's going to be part of, obviously, it's going to be part of the strat, where Andre just kicks those contestables and Chesney and Cannon chase. And we know, even though Chesney is not a very tall guy, how good he is under those contestable kicks. So I do think that like I said, one of us are going to be smiling, and one of us is going to be saying, I told you so. I hope it's not me, or I hope it is me, but I think Kane's going to have a brilliant game. I think he knows his coach trusts him, even though a lot of South Africans don't.
No South Africans trust him. It's you and
I
Rassie.
trust him.
It's
I
you.
trust him.
It's you and Rassie. I'm even certain that even Eben's going like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm actually, I'll put my head on a block, that even Eben's going like, Andre's sitting there and Andre's thinking like, ugh, what the fuck, bro? No, I don't agree with his inclusion. And I'll tell you why I don't agree with his inclusion. We need to get past this thing. And we've been discussing this build up to the next World Cup quite substantially now for the last couple of episodes, based on the players that are being picked. We have so many players. Our talent pool is so vast and so huge. There is no logical reason to pick a player that is not in form. It's the same that we said about Damian Willemse. It's the same that we've said about Apelele Fassi. On the day, probably two of the top 5 fullbacks in world rugby, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They are not on form. But now what are we proving to the youngsters that are playing? The youngsters that are playing their hearts out, the Quayne Horns, the Sebastian de Klerke, the Suleiman Hartzenbergs and stuff, is that basically the minute you get into the Bok team, you will always be chosen. There will always be a spot for you because there's no consequences for your off days or having a bad season or whatever. Kainan Moody at the moment is the weak link in South African rugby. And Kainan Moody at the moment is going up against Rico Ioane, probably one of the best wingers currently in world rugby, alongside Colby and the French wingers.
I think Rico looked better on outside centre, to be honest. Yeah, I think he's a very similar player to Kainan Moody, also a very tall player.
But the difference is, yes, he looks better on outside centre, probably. But he's definitely looking better on wing. He's going to make Kainan Moody look like a dipshit.
You think he looks is good? I don't know. I feel like he's also been missing some shots.
Plenty.
I know he started off as a wing, or he used to play the wing. But I don't rate him that much.
I hope and I pray that come Sunday, right, when we're sitting in this similar position again, right, that you are the one that can say I told you so. Because you need to understand, Kainan Moody's career will not survive another bad performance like the Australian game when it comes to the South African fan base. It won't, because they are going to massacre him. We are a loyal fan base, and the big thing for us is, and for me especially, I'm looking at the talent pool that is being excluded to make space for people like Kainan Moody, who's off form. People like Damian Willemse, Apelele Fassi, who's off form. Quayne Horn has had a solid season with the Lions. In a struggling team, Quayne Horn has looked like a phenomenal fullback. He's not even been included in any of the squads. Okay.
He will. I think he will still get a
Yeah,
shot,
but
but
we need to start progressing into that direction. And that is the thing that's concerning me about this. We are playing out of form players, we are playing has been players. We can't do
yeah,
that. We're getting into that point now of we're going to expect a guy like Quine Horn to walk into a World Cup, potentially walk into a World Cup with 10, 15 caps and expect him to perform like a player who is at 30, 40 caps. And it's not fair. We need to move past this whole scenario of choosing players that are not on form with the talent pools that we have available. This whole squad, in my opinion, that was chosen by Rassie to go to New Zealand and to go change our ways into a potential of winning this Rugby Championship. This whole squad is shit. It is probably one of the worst wearing squads that I've seen in a long time, and it's primarily because of the inclusion of Kincaid and Moody.
let's move on to the All Black squad.
I think that's gonna be better. Let me rant about something else for this for a second.
So just tell me when you have it up.
No, it's up. Let's go.
I
Look,
like the
look.
way the All
Just I
Blacks
just wanna
announced
I
their
just
squad.
wanna point this out, right? If you look at their wingers, okay, their wingers are on form. I'm just saying, not like our
Um,
wingers that looks like they're on holiday.
yeah, I
Neither
think
one
one
of
of
the
them,
yeah.
one of them is actually getting is very new. Imomi Marawa. I might be wrong. I've never seen that before. Um, but yeah, I might be wrong about that. But I don't know. I don't think Rico Iani is in the best form. I think Will Jordan in the backline is probably the best in form in the backline. I mean, and okay, Billy Proctor also doesn't look bad. Um, you know, um, but yeah, do you wanna go through it or
I'll quickly run through it for us. So they're going with obviously a bit of a tried and tested front row: Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Newell. Cody Taylor, obviously, we know, formidable hooker. Um, solid lock pairing. Scott Barrett, who's also captaining the side, and his lockmate is Tupo Va or Vai, Tupo Vai. A bit of an unknown with Simon Parker. Haven't seen him play a lot, but he's obviously alongside Adi Sevilla, who's playing his 100th match. What a time to play your 100th match at Eden Park against the Springboks. And feel that should
100%?
be, yeah.
Apparently, Razor planned it that way. I saw something this morning saying that Razor actually chose Eden Park for us to play in the first game, and because he wanted Adi Sevilla to play his 100th game there.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me with Razor. It's all about the off-field tactics as well. And then Wallace Setiti, probably one of the names we mentioned in a lot
Very
earlier.
good, yeah.
A lot of potential here, and it's one of the
Yeah, very,
youngsters
very
that
good.
we excited to see grow and develop and stuff. Then obviously with all the scrum offs being injured and stuff, they brought along the little ginger like you.
Well,
With
he's a little. I'm not that little.
Van de Cresti. And then obviously they went. Look, the thing is, their backline is out and out there for attack. They've got
Yeah.
two predominant goal kickers. They've got a back three that likes to attack from everywhere. So you've got Bowden Barrett at 10, Dick Johan at 11, Jody Barrett and Billy Proctor on center. That it's a good center pair.
Yeah, but Jordy Barrett's very good, yo.
Yeah, and then you've got Imoni Narawa and Will Jordan. So Will Jordan, obviously, we know what he's capable of. We don't have that at fullback,
Hmm.
and we don't have.
I think Will Jordan is one try away of beating Brian Abana's record. I might be wrong, but I think it's one try away from beating his record that scored the most tries in the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, I can believe that. And then looking at the replacements, hooker replacement, Samasoni Takihayo. You've got Tomato Williams and Tyrell Lomax, so solid, front
Bomb
row.
squad.
Yeah, coming off the bench. Fabian Holland and Duplessis
Duplessis
Karifi.
Karifi.
Yeah.
Duplessis is Karifi is actually named after.
Probably Bismarck.
I know
Or
it wasn't
Karel.
Bismarck. I'm not. It might have actually been Bismarck. I'm not sure. But anyways, he's named after Springbok. I don't think it was Bismarck.
Probably
Um,
Karel Duplessis or something. I don't know because I believe. Yeah, I don't know. And then you've
but
got
yeah, he's renamed after Springbok,
yeah,
Springbok.
Kyle Preston. Um,
He makes his debut. Carl
yes,
Preston is
he's
big.
making his debut, and then you've got Quinn Tupia, who's coming on, and then obviously their little pocket rocket, which is Damian McKenzie playing off the bench.
He gives a creepy little smile every time
Look, the thing is, I'm going to be honest, and I'm just going to reiterate this, and I'm not going to vent or rant or whatever about it again. On paper, this should be a fantastic match. I just
Very
feel
good.
that if I look at the All Black squad, I think they're facing a similar problem that we have at the moment, where the development in a lot of their positions aren't there yet. Looking at the young, building to the next World Cup. I mean, you've got the two Barrett brothers, which are already getting on in age. You've got, well, all three Barrett brothers, to be fair. Cody Taylor's getting on in age. You've got Adi Savia, who's also getting on in age. There's a lot of their players. They're facing a very similar problem that the South Africans are facing, where they are in a position of not. For me, it's not. There's not enough development, and I've got this horrible feeling that we are going at the next World Cup going to see a new champion crown that's never won the World Cup before. And at the moment, I feel that that team is going to make either us or the All Blacks look like idiots at the next World Cup. But if the All Black backline gets going, and considering the wingers they've got, and considering the centre pairings and stuff that they have, because it's a fast backline, this, and you've got Damian McKenzie coming off the bench and stuff. This is an attacking backline. On centre, I'm not too worried because we will be able to defend him on centre. But if this backline gets going, Kane and Moody is going to be a liability for us. Is going to be a liability for us on this weekend.
Look, I don't think neither us or the All Blacks are in the form that we'd like to be. And I think we probably will. I hope that on this day both of us turn it on. I hope it's not two cuck teams or two cuck performances, and it's just who's better on the day between the two cuckers performance. Or
we want to see a contest. We want to see a proper match.
I want it to be proper. I want both teams to literally turn it on completely and prove to everyone who's been doubting it, to their own fans who's been doubting them, how good they can be. And even if the All Blacks win, or if I lose, or if the Springboks lose, I want us still to be able to say, but fuck it, we gave it. We sent it, and they were just a better team.
We want to sit here on Sunday and be like, what a match.
I think our biggest problem, and it probably has been our biggest problem for a while, is and I know you're going to say, it's Kane and Moody, but not just Kane and Moody. I think our defense overall has been shit. We've conceded so many easy tries.
Especially where Kane and Moody's been playing.
I think we need Jacques Nienaber back, though. In my honest opinion, I think we need Jacques Nienaber back, and I'm not throwing shade at the current. Maybe I'm a bit defense coach, but I mean, since Jacques Nienaber's left, I feel like our rush defense is just not what it used to be. We're opening stupid gaps, and teams have been exposing us. And I really hope Jacques Nienaber leaves Leinster and comes back before 2027. Because I mean,
I don't hope so. I think Jacques had his time, and the big thing that we need to look at is if you look at we saw this a lot in the URC, especially with the new kids coming through. These guys are quick off the mark. They close that 5 or 10 meter gap exceptionally quickly because they've got such a pull away. So the rush defense has been nullified by that, in the sense of, I mean, you've got these flashy flyers. You look at Byron Barrett. You look at James O'Connor and stuff. The Argentinian backline is just as lethal. All they're now doing is they're playing that extra 3 or 4 meters deeper. They've got scrum offs that can make those passes. They're playing those extra 3 or 4 meters deeper, and now your rush defense comes up. That fly-off needs to shift one channel to either side, and there's automatically overlap, because it's like the game awareness that we have as South Africans. especially on wing, especially on Kane and Moody, is not there at all. You know, sorry, I'm gonna continue bashing him because I feel like it's gonna cost us this game on Saturday. So the rush defense is easily nullifiable. The thing is with the rush defense, if it works and you play against a side that is predominantly forward driven, you know, a side that's reliant on getting that short ball, the rush defense is fantastic. But if you get to a side, and this is where the big problem came in with Australia, because all they did was they played that 2 or 3 meters deeper than you would expect them to play, which means you have 2 or 3 meters more to cover, and all they need to do is the fly off of the center needs to shift one channel, and there's automatically overlap, or they create such a gap big enough, you know, for Noah to sail his arc through. And we saw that with that 8th man of Australia scoring tries because of our rush defense not working the way it should. And it's a nullifiable system. And it's one of those things that we need to be careful that it doesn't become a crutch for us, that we become so reliant on our rush defense that the minute it doesn't work, we're fucked. Because that's what happened against Australia. The minute it didn't work, it's almost like we didn't know what to do. And that's where a captain should come in and say, guys, okay, we're not going to do the rush defense anymore. The rush defense needs to become a move that you call during open play, and say, okay, we're gonna do a rush defense on this. Look at the positional play of the fly off and whatever, and don't make your reliance on your rush defense, because the minute you get proper teams and a proper coach, I mean, we're gonna use our preseason as example. Georgia and Italy made our rush defense look like shit. Because why? All they did is they're playing 2 or 3 meters deeper from the breakdown. It nullifies your rush defense because they've got that extra bit on the ball and your wings are rushing into quickly. It's an automatic overlap, and it's going to cost us when you don't have wingers that can read that awareness. And we have a wing that can read that awareness. Colby does it quite well. You know, so I'm not look, I hope, and we're going to finish off on this whole South Africa New Zealand thing, because I hope it's one of those games that we can sit you on Sunday and say, you know what, that was the best rugby we've seen. I hope that game goes to like a 66-65 score line, you know, and I just hope it rains, dries, and I hope it's just one of those spectacles that we can turn around on Sunday and say, this is the best match we've ever watched, you know?
Yeah. What is the best match you've ever watched? Bit off subject. If you had to call 3 games, that if you can only watch 3 games for the rest of your life, which 3 games did you watch?
I can't recall what year this was, but the best game that I ever watched was a South African versus New Zealand game, where South Africa needed like 21 points in the last 15 minutes to win the game. And I remember that slope started with US van der Westhuizen scoring a try around the ruck. That was probably the best. I would say second best game I probably ever watched was it would have to be the 1995 World Cup final, just because we were never supposed to even be in the finals. We you know, it was a horrible quarters, horrible semis, you know, wet as fuck in Durban.
Wasn't even born yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, that I have to say. And of the modern age, I have to say that it would have to be the South African versus France in the quarterfinals of the last World Cup, because it was just end-to-end stuff.
So my 3 is not only one of them is involves the Springboks, which is weird. But yeah, definitely my first one, the game I have rewatched multiple times, is the quarterfinals, the Springboks versus France. Obviously, I think France were the favourites. I mean, they thought they were going to win the World Cup at home, and you know, they were looking very, very good. They smashed All Blacks in the opening game. You know, well, they beat All Blacks in the opening game. And when I remember when the game started, I was home alone. My wife was away, and we have this rugby chat. Yeah, you remember the rugby? We're still on that same rugby chat. And I remember when the game started, they were just giving it to us. And I still said, if we lose, I just hope we don't get smashed. And then Ebenezer knocked that ball back, turned the momentum, and it was just, punch for punch for 80 minutes. And it's probably one of the best rugby matches I've ever watched. Second best is the All Blacks against Ireland in the same quarterfinals, which was also a very, very good game. I think Ireland's were heavy favourites for the game. The All Blacks were sort of written off, which is a mistake you never make. Evans told us that. And I think it was an unbelievable game of rugby. I remember what a fucking brilliant weekend of rugby that was. Obviously the All Blacks coming on top. And then the third one is not even an international game. It was Leinster versus Toulouse in the 2024 Champions Cup final, 2023-2024. First 80 minutes, not a single point scored. Two teams going at it, and just neither of them getting the upper hand. And it was an unbelievable match of rugby. I think the match went on for 100 minutes. It did, and Toulouse ultimately did get the dub. Anyways, we are heavily off subject. If I had to choose 3 players or a few players, okay, limitless few players from this All Black team that you could absorb into the Springbok team.
Let me just draw them. Let me just draw them up again. So if I have to choose 3 players, that would
throw one of the, or not throw. Okay, that's a bit mean, but harsh. Swap out one of the All Blacks for one of the Springboks current 15. Let's say we are playing fucking France tomorrow, and you can choose any of these 15 All Blacks. Match that 23. Okay, and replace him with Rico Ioane.
Rico Ioane, definitely. I would probably swap Veli for Will Jordan. And then I would probably get Adi Sevilla in. That's probably the 3 changes that I would definitely.
I agree with you. Out of 2 or 3, I also Adi Sevilla, play him on 8. I do think he's the best 8 in the world, one of the best players in the world. Adi Sevilla is an amazing player. So I would probably play him on 8. I know he's playing on 7 this weekend, but I think he's predominantly an 8th man. And then also Will Jordan, no hate on Veli Leroux, but I think Will Jordan is an amazing player. He really is. He has some crazy stat that he scored a try against every single country that he's ever played against. Not every single match, but every single country he's ever played against, he scored a try against them. And then Cody Taylor, I would, and that can swing either way, and we can argue about that or with anyone. For days, because Malcolm Marx is also a very, very good player. But I just rate Cody Taylor a bit more than him. So if I had to choose 3, it would be probably Cody Taylor, Adi Sevilla, and Will Jordan. I think we're pretty solid everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think then there's one more game, which will be on 6:30 on Saturday morning for us here in South Africa, which I'm definitely waking up for, which is going to be Argentina versus Australia, and I think that is going to be spectacular. Obviously both teams. I think Argentina can be world dominators if they just learn to be a bit consistent, because they can play so cock one weekend and then they will smash you the next. But yeah, let's pull up the teams. I don't know which team you want to start with.
I'll go through the Argentinian side quickly.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so the Argentinian side, let me quickly run through them. You've got Michael Vivas, Julian Montoya, and Joel Slavia. Obviously, Julian captaining the team as normal. Exciting front row. You've got Franco Molina and Pedro Rubiolo as a lock pairing. Probably in the scrum, that's the newest pairing that they've got, but they've proven that they're up to the task. Then you've got Juan Martin Gonzalez, Marcos Kremer, and Pablo Montera. Probably the most informed loose trio in the Rugby Championship, in my opinion. Going to the back line, and this is where it gets exciting. Gonzalo Garcia, Santiago Carreras, Mateo
Thomas
Carreras.
Albornoz. Thomas Almanos, their usual starter at 10, is injured, and I think he's fucking brilliant. In fact, and I'm going to say this, probably the best 10 in the Rugby Championship. He's
Yeah,
so
definitely.
fucking good.
But I mean, it's the same thing we're looking at that now. Santiago Carrera's replacing him at 10. I mean, can you ask for a better replacement at 10? It's almost replacing like for like in that sense.
But yeah, but it's a big loss for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, go for it.
Inside the center pairing, Santiago Cocobares with Lucio Cinti on 13.
Yeah, good.
Batista Dalgai and Juan Cruz Malia at 15.
I like your pronunciation, Juan.
Yeah, Brenty, we need to adapt to the times. We've got a Southern American team in now.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be chuffed.
The alphabet is very, very different to ours. For that's for it's John Cruz that for us, but it's Juan Cruz for them. Looking at the replacement quickly. Hooker replacement Ignacio Ruiz. I mean, you can't ask for a better. Then they've also got a debutant. They've actually got two. Boris Wenger coming in for his debut on Lucid. Then you've got Francisco Correa Machete. I hope I don't fuck that up. Okay.
No, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, not sure about him though. I haven't seen a lot of him though. Guido Petty. I mean, just the name already makes me angry because he's obviously had so much influence in games where South Africa has been involved. And then you've got Jacqueline Ovido. Joaquin. Anywho, then you've got Augustine Moyano. Geronimo Prisciantelli. That sounds very Italian. So maybe it is. And then Benjamin Elizalde. So Geronimo is also a debutant. So you've got the two debutants. So they've obviously got a lot more confidence in starting new players that are uncapped against world class players, not hammering on their old has been or out of shape players like Kane and Riddick. But exciting team. I'm looking. I'm looking.
I hope he's not watching this. I like you, Kanan. Give me a signed shirt.
This is going to be an exciting team for me to watch. If that backline gets going, those loose forwards are pound for pound probably not only some of the best, but some of the fastest loose forwards in world rugby as well. This is for me. This is just going to be, probably going to be one of the contests to look at because it's going to be that open flowing rugby. This is going to be that match that you would want to go with a scoreline of 70 versus 69, and you've just got that it's non-stop scoring because it will be such a pleasure to watch this because it's two younger teams with flair. They've got a lot of pace.
I think one of these teams are running away with it. I don't know which one, but I just have a feeling one team is going to smack the other team. I don't know why.
Well, both these teams are coming into this match with their tails in the air. Australia didn't have a bad tour to South Africa. And a lot of people expected that they're going to have a bad tour to South Africa, because they were overwhelmingly the underdogs, and they made us look like a bunch of dipshits.
They played well. But they played well.
Yeah, and I mean in the second game, we were very close to looking like a bunch of tampon strings. In any case, luckily we pulled the head out of that there, and we went on. Moving on to the Aussies, you can run us through that side.
So Tom Robertson, Billy Pollard, Daniele Tupau, Nick Frost, I think was very, very good. Tom Hooper, Rob Valentini, also one of those very, very good players. We'll do it next episode, or one of these episodes. We should do a combined Rugby Championship team.
Yeah, I think let's do it after the weekend. We can do our team of the tournament so far.
Yeah, Fraser McWright is also an unbelievable player.
Definitely.
Turnover king. Harry Wilson, who was very, very good. He got injured in the first game against South Africa, but I mean, he scored a try. I think he's actually scored 2 tries against us. Nick White is back. I mean, Nick White also caught the Springboks napping, with that grabber, and they scored, the shortest retirement ever. And then Tom Lynagh is back. I don't think he was that hot. I'm not saying he's bad at all. I felt like James O'Connor really played well. In Tom Lynock's
Absence.
absence. I'm not saying Tom Lynock is bad. I don't know. I would have kept it with O'Connor. But
Well,
anyway,
he's playing. He's obviously playing. I'm sure his father was played for Australia in the 1995 World Cup. Michael Lynagh, and he was formidable. Tom Lynagh, obviously a face of the future. He's young. So.
Then Corey Toole, who was very, very good. He debuted against us in the second game, I think. Scored a try against us. Very, very good. A lot of promise on this on this player. And then Lenny Ketau and Joseph Suwalili. Who used to be an NRL player, I think, and obviously they made this massive hoo-ha about him. He's not bad at all. I just think he looks better than he actually is. I'm not saying he's bad. He's a good player, but you get some of those players that really look like they're going to fuck you up. Whether it's physically or they're just going to run circles around you. And he looks like that, but I don't know. I haven't really seen it. He didn't have a terrible performance. He just,
Yeah, didn't he score an intercept try?
He did. I'm trying to forget about that. Max Jorgensen, who is he was also very, very good against
Probably
us.
at the moment the number 14 of the tournament, in my opinion. He's been looking very, very solid.
And then obviously the player that I think the Wallabies are really going to be missed is a Tom Wright, the fullback that's injured, who got injured in the last game, who I think was he was really an unbelievable form, very, very good, and it is a big miss for them. So let's hope Andrew Kellaway, he's obviously got a big shoes to fill. Will Skelton, and I'll probably go on a 1 second rant here because of that, because he had to go back to his team, La Rochelle, to play, top 14, and it pisses me off. It really does. That the French sort of, and it's not a secret. We know that they sort of, over or prefer their club teams over to international games, and I don't know the exact story, but I think Will Skelton was sort of coerced or forced to go back to La Rochelle, to start playing and practicing with his team, and I don't know why that pisses me off, but I just feel like international rugby, international test games should be the pinnacle of rugby. It's the best in our country against the best in your country, and not. It should sort of trump club rugby for me, and I think
this is again. I'm going to say this. This is why nobody gives a shit about the French, because the French doesn't give a shit about anybody. That's why I don't support French rugby. I don't watch French rugby, and I despise it when South African players go and play at French clubs, because it's bullshit.
I don't despise them.
It's an honor. It's an honor for the rest of the world to play for your country.
100%.
For the French, it's clearly not. But then again, it is France. So
I'm sure it is an honor for them. I just feel like, to me, I don't despise them the way you despise them. But to me, that's why they'll probably never win a World Cup. To be honest with you, is because I don't feel like the priority is where it should be. They send the C team to the All Blacks.
Oh, they're a very self-centered rugby nation. They poach a lot of your world-class players. And then put all these ridiculous clauses and stuff in their contracts and stuff, but then again, a decent rugby player wouldn't fall for that situation and not put themselves in that situation where they would need to do that. But I remember a couple of years ago around the 2019 World Cup, we were facing the same problem where a lot of our players had to take leave halfway during your Rugby Championship season to go and fulfill their duties there. And I feel that playing for your country is an honor. It's the highest achievement that you can, whether it is whether you're playing for Romania, whether you're playing for South Africa, whether you're playing for Canada, it doesn't matter. It's the highest honor, and to be such a pedantic club or pedantic rugby nation that you can't even see that happen for somebody. It's just bullshit. That's why nobody likes the French. That's
I don't know.
really, honestly.
I don't mind the French. It's only Timo. But I mean, we are completely opposite. I mean, in the URC, we start our URC without any of our internationals because we put them on rest. You know, and no one gets upset about that. You know, we don't get upset because you don't see Eben Etzebeth playing for the Sharks because we know that you know he served his country in a way. You know, but anyways, and then we got Brandon. Payenga, Amaso, Angus Bell, well done, and Zayn, Nongor,
Nongor.
Nongor, Jeremy Williams, Carlo Tizano, Tate McDermott, well done, and then James O'Connor coming off the bench, and then Filippo Daugunu. Predictions. Both games predicted. We ended off with our predictions.
New Zealand by about 9.
What the fuck?
Brenty, Kanan's going to cost us the game. It's unfortunate. Wow. I don't want to choose the All Blacks. I really don't. I don't. Believe me. In my heart that is bleeding green and gold, I'm sad. My heart is crying tears of shit because...
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to clip our predictions now. And in the start of the next episode, when we've already watched, we're going to see, okay?
I would be as happy as a pig in shit if I am wrong with my prediction and we massacre them. I guarantee you, I won't give you a shit. I won't say anything bad. Nothing. Kane Moody is going to cost us that game. And we're going to be lucky if we keep the scoreline to 9. I'm going to go with the All Blacks by 9. Purely because Kane Moody is in the team. And purely because he doesn't deserve to be in the team.
Okay.
I think it's a liability. Now, when it comes to this match, if I look at the squads that we just read out, I feel that Argentina on paper should massacre Australia. But as Australia has shown us in the last couple of weeks, you know, they've got the hunger.
Yeah, they can't
I think it's going to be, I think Australia is going to win it. I do think it, but it's going to be by 2 or 3 points. But it's going to be a massive scoreline. I think both teams are going to score over 30 points in this one. I think it's going to be a beautiful game to watch because I think it's going to be that organized goes. Australia by 4. Home ground advantage. They're coming off a very, very good South African tour where they've literally shocked the world. I mean, they've had us almost cancel an episode because we were so pissed off. No, I think Australia has it.
Okay.
But then it's not going to be without a fight. I think both games is going to be hard games. But I think it's going to be a Asianic win there with Australia and New Zealand winning both those matches.
I'm going to say that the Springboks win by 15 points against the All Blacks because of Kane Moody that's in the team and the likes of obviously my boy Eben Etzebeth who's going to play like a house on fire. I think Eben Etzebeth man of the match followed closely by Jason Colby or Kane Moody. I think we're going to smash them by 15 points. I think two of the team number 1 and 2 in the world, biggest rugby game, and I think both of the teams are feeling it. The biggest rivalry of all time, especially in rugby. But I just feel like the Springboks are going to be a bit more hungry for it, you know. The All Blacks have a lot of reason to be hungry for it. Obviously, they've got a lot of pressure from their fans. They've got a 30-year record to win. They've got Ardie Severe's 100th game. But I just have a feeling the Springboks are going to play unbelievable and we're going to smash them. The safer bet would have been a bit closer. But anyways, I'm going to say by 15. I'm sticking with my prediction. And then I think the Wallabies beat the Argentinians by 10 points. I think they beat them by 10 points. I think the Wallabies, fuck it, they're going to beat them by 20 points. I think the Wallabies will take a lot of confidence from their tour to South Africa. I mean, they played very, very well. I mean, they took on the current world champions in their backyard, beat them once where they were completely written off. You know, if you had to say their if you had to ask me there who would win on paper, it would have had to be the Springboks. But like I said before, the Wallabies couldn't read, and they fucking annihilated us at 16 points. So I think they're going to have a lot of confidence coming off of a very successful tour. And they're obviously building towards the Rugby World Cup that is in their backyard, and they want to get their fans back. So I think they are going to smash the Argentinians. And I'm very excited for that loose forward battle. Obviously with Creamer and Matera playing against Rob Valentini. I think this is where I have to disagree with you. I know that you said that loose forward trio from Argentina are probably the best in the Rugby Championship, and they are unbelievable. They really are. Creamer and Matera, both of them unbelievably physical players. But the loose forward trio that the Aussies have, Rob Valentini, Fraser McRae, and Harry Wilson, those three are world class players, and I think they edged the Argentinians in that fight a little bit. But yeah, so Springboks by 15, Wallabies by 20, and you've got the All Blacks by 9 and the Wallabies by 4.
Yes. Well, look at it this way. What's going to happen on Sunday when we record? Okay. I'm going to either massacre you because of Kane and Moody being shit as fuck, or you're going to massacre me because Kane and Moody gets man of the match. Okay, so I'm very excited about our next episode after this weekend's rugby, because I really think that, and hopefully when this is all said and done, hopefully Rassie looks at our podcast and say, you know what, Timo has a good point. This guy's really just that cock.
I don't think so. But guys, I think we have been recording well over the hour. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Saturday.
The rugby. Yeah, enjoy the rugby.
Be
safe. And then we'll chat on Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh yeah, Saturday, because it's early games, right?
Early games. We'll record immediately. If we win, if the Springboks win, we'll record immediately after. If they don't, we'll probably go get drunk and be depressed somewhere. So yeah. Cheers,
right.
guys.
Cheers, Brenty.